Hello and welcome to Deals podcast. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce my friend Shiv Haria from Lifestyle Property People. How you doing, Shiv?
Very good, Mark. Very, very good. Really excited to be on your podcast. I've been listening to the last few of them, and there's lots of really amazing people on there. So yeah, I'm very, very glad and humbled that you've invited me to be on it with you today.
Well, I've been looking forward to this, Shiv, because obviously we met on the Property Entrepreneur Board in 2017. Yeah. And I've seen your journey, and I've been really impressed with what you've done. And I think it's great to talk about your business, but also kind of how you've gone about finding this joint venture partner, because I think that'd be really interesting to people that are either like starting out on the journey or looking for the next step. And kind of raising capital is always kind of like one of the issues, and I think it's fantastic what you've done to be able to grow a portfolio on the side of your business. So I think that'll be
absolutely. And Mark, nothing that I've done is rocket science. If you follow any of the property like people or anything like that, anything that they say to do, all I've done is just done what they've said to do. Everyone, and specifically in our world, the Property Entrepreneur Program, I've just followed the blueprint, I've just followed the steps, and it's got me to where I am. Followed the advice, followed the guidance of people that are on the board as well. So it's not rocket science. I've just followed the steps. That's all I've done.
I think that's possibly, you're also on the wealth dynamics profile. You're a tempo. So you're my tempo brother. And I think that's one of our kind of like strengths is execution is kind of like being in thick of it and making it happen.
Execution, and along with the execution is consistency. I always see people all around me that, are really excitable people. They've got a lot of charisma, a lot of charm. They go and do stuff. They're not scared. They're courageous. But when it comes to actually like running the business and making it a replicatable business that's making profit year on, year out, that's where it gets complicated for a lot of people. Whereas for me and you, that's the easy bit. It's like finding the ideas is really difficult. Finding out what to do and how to do it and hiring people, that's all the difficult bit. But then once everything's set up, that's really, really easy, because all you've got to do is do what you did yesterday, but do it tomorrow and do it again and do it again and do it again. And I think that's where you and I, Mark, being tempos, win is we've got people around us that have already had all the good ideas, that have already got the blueprint, and then all we've got to do is execute on that blueprint, exactly what they say. And of course, having being part of the board and having a mastermind group around us, whenever we get stuck, we can just ask other people and say, hey, did you get around this this struggle, this challenge? And we can crack on with that as well. So yeah, I think that's been a really, really big strength of mine. And to tell you the truth, actually, when I first started on Property Entrepreneur, I was really skeptical, because everyone around me, except for you, it was just me and you that were tempos, but everyone else was pretty much dynamo or blaze. And I was like, oh, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe this is for those kind of like ideas people. And obviously, the more we go in depth into the wealth dynamics, we realize that everyone can be an entrepreneur if they want to, of course. And it's just everyone will do it with their own style. Everyone will be good at different parts of it, and all we've got to do is surround ourselves with the people that are good at the other parts of it. So if I'm a tempo, I just got to surround myself with people that are good at say the people part of it and the ideas part of it. And all the other people who are, say, dynamos, they surround themselves with people like us who are good at the execution.
Focus on your strengths and get other people to help you with the other parts of the business. So
absolutely.
Just to wind things back, obviously, if people don't know you, can you just give us a brief introduction?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started in property back in 2014. I did one of the property courses. It wasn't any of the famous ones, so I won't bother mentioning it. But I did the property courses, read the books and all that stuff. And at the time, I had actually just come back from South America because my mum unfortunately had a heart attack. So I was traveling. I came back to South America to look after my mum for a little bit. And then she was kind of recovering in the hospital and stuff. And I started thinking to myself, hold on a second, like, how's she going to pay her bills? Because at the moment she was working and every month the income that came in, she paid towards bills. But I said, hold on a second, she's not working anymore because she's, in hospital or whatever. How is she going to pay the bills? And that's what kind of got me started on the track to think about passive income and investment and all of that kind of stuff, which unfortunately until then my parents had never had like really the courage to do. Or certainly they never had the courage to do successfully. So I started looking into investments, went to these property courses and that. And because I was traveling before this, I didn't actually have a job. I'd already quit my job beforehand to go traveling.
What was you doing before? What was the job that you quit?
I used to be an account manager for an IT company called Fujitsu. It was a large company.
Yeah.
We did, and we did. So I did the graduate scheme with them. So straight out of university, did the graduate scheme for 3 years. Stayed for 6 months or so, and then decided to go traveling because I realized that's not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And I think one of the early wins that I had as a person was I realized that that's not what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I thought, well, what do I want to do? I started asking myself that question of what do I want to do for the rest of my life? I think a lot of people get caught up in doing something that it's just because they need to bring in the money to pay for their life, right? And I quit. I've got no problem telling people this. I quit when I was on about 50 grand, which at the time was quite for a graduate and stuff. It was a decent salary, and certainly some of your people will be listening. They're from the north, but from the south, like 50 grand was like a basic sort of salary type of thing. So I quit whilst I was in a quite low salary, and I thought that was the best decision I ever made, because if you don't quit when you're that in that kind of place, then they just keep offering you more and more money. And there's a really good saying somewhere. It says the salary is the bribe they give you to forget your dreams. Have you heard that before? And it was to me, that was exactly what it was. It's just like they just keep paying you more money. Oh, you're going to give you a new car this year. They're going to give you a phone this year. They're going to give you this and this. And I just thought I need to quit because I need to get out of this because that's not what I want to do. Anyway. So that's what I was doing. Yeah.
Talking about kind of I suppose that's like increasing your lifestyle as you kind of your salary increases, so that you don't kind of you can't get out. But that'll transition us onto lifestyle property people.
Well, it's talking about your lifestyle increasing. I actually did that. So I bought, as soon as I got the graduate scheme job, I bought an Audi TT. I was like, oh my God, this car. I was like, I don't know, 20. How old was I? Come out of university, about 20 or something like that. I bought this Audi TT, and I was like the youngest person that I knew that had this amazing car. It was brilliant. Cool. Drove it everywhere. Yeah. Exactly. Really cool. And then as soon as I started going to these investment courses and seminars, I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, my favorite book. In fact, I've just bought a whole bunch of them for my team, which I'm going to see later on this week. And that taught me one thing. It said invest in assets, not in liabilities, and taught me that difference between assets and liabilities, cash flow, all that kind of thing. And as soon as I got that in my head, I was like, oh my God, what am I doing with this car? I need to sell this car. So I literally put it on the market on Thursday. It was gone on Saturday. I was like, I need to get rid of that because I need to get the money. So I got the money, and then I started buying houses with that. And what I did actually, this was my first JV back then, Mark. I had a girlfriend then. We would only be going out for a couple of months, actually. She's now my wife. And she had a really good job, and she saved up quite a lot of money. She was a chemical engineer. And I said to her, hey, why don't we do this thing where, you give me the money basically, and I'll go and buy these houses. So I'll buy one for you and one for me and one for you, one for me. And we'll build it up like that. And she was like, yeah, this sounds like a brilliant idea. Because I don't have the time to do it. That was our first JV. And then from there, it was probably just a couple of years later. So we'd bought a bunch of properties ourselves. I'd actually moved to Leeds at this point because I'd done lots of research around all the different places. And I thought Leeds was going to be the next best thing. Ironically, I know that you guys are based in the Northwest, and I had looked at kind of Manchester, and I thought to myself, oh, that's had quite a lot of growth. And this is how I chose Leeds. When I went to Leeds, I thought to myself, and I hope your audience don't mind me saying, I was like, blimey, what a shithole. And it was
I don't think it is.
What I mean is compared to Manchester have had a lot of growth. It was really booming. And Leeds was very far behind. And Leeds is the next largest city after Manchester. I was sitting there going, why is Leeds not growing? And I thought, well, maybe that's what's going to happen now. Leeds is going to grow. Anyway, so I moved up to Leeds, started buying new houses. And the way that I did it, based on as we go back to wealth dynamics again, I'm really good at building long-term relationships. That's what I like doing. I just love building long-term. So I was just sitting there, going around and see the agents, just building relationships with the agents. And honestly, I didn't have a job. So all I did was I woke up in the morning and I'd have a look through Rightmove, and then I'd go see some agents and go and have coffee with them. And sometimes they wouldn't want me there, and sometimes they would. But after a while, I just became like kind of like the lovable guy who came over to have coffee every so often. And obviously, every time I went, by the way, here's a little trick I tell everybody, but no one seems to do it, is I used to take Mr. Kipling's with me. So at the very least, at least I got some cakes out of it, right? So anyway, go in, buy the cake, buy the Kiplings, go and see them. They'd be really happy to see me. And obviously that way I got any of the deals for myself, my own portfolio. And then I was posting all this stuff on Facebook, and some of the people that were seeing it, obviously my, let's call it my school friends, my friends from my old work, all of that kind of stuff. Those people were all seeing all this stuff. And they said, what the hell are you doing? And one of the people that saw it was my now ex-business partner's wife. She used to work with me at Fujitsu. And she saw it and she said, oh, we're really interested in learning about what you're doing. Like, can you come and talk to us about it? And I was like, wow, somebody wants to know about what I'm doing. This is fantastic. I felt like a KPI mark, key personal influence. So I went down, had a chat with them. They said, oh, this is fantastic. Can you buy us one? And I was like, I suppose I could, but quite busy. Okay, fine, I'll buy you one. So I bought them a property, and then they said, oh, wow, this is amazing. It worked out really well. And it worked out way better than we thought it was going to be, because I'm cautious by nature. Under promise, over deliver from the very beginning. So then they said, oh, can you buy us another one? And I said, oh, we could do, but I've got to charge you, because quite a lot of time and effort went into that first one. Oh yeah, no problem, we'll pay you. So they paid me, and we did another one. They paid me again, and I was like, this is crazy. Anyway, then my ex-business partner said to me, hey, we should start this company. And I was like, doing what? Like, I don't understand. He said, well, if I want these properties, maybe other people also want these properties, but I don't have the time to do any of this work. So, that's why I'm paying you. And so other people could pay us as well to do this. I thought that's a brilliant idea. And he was a very, he's a charismatic guy, very charismatic guy, nice guy. And I thought, wow, it'd be really nice to learn from this guy and be in business with this guy. And so we started to offer our services out to clients. In that first year, Mark, we must have done like 4 deals, in the whole year, 4 deals. It took us bloody ages to find anybody that wanted to, trusted us enough.
What was that? Was that 2015, 2016?
No, that was, so January 2016 is when we started the business. Yeah. So in that year, we did like literally 4 deals. And then the next year, we thought we were like whizzing along, because we did 8 deals the next year. But we were like, wow, 8 deals. That was
that's when you joined the board then, wasn't it?
That's when we joined the board.
September.
And that's when we kind of, when we started seeing like what is possible. And obviously, you and I know, Mark, the board is full of some what we call big hitters, right? People that are doing big things. And in a way, and this is something that I know now coming out the other end, is that, there was a big amount of like imposter syndrome there. I was sitting there going, bloody hell, I'm surrounded by this guy with this side, this guy with this side. They're all doing big things, and all we're doing is selling 8 deals. And there's part of that imposter syndrome that drives you to kind of go and do it as well. And of course, if you now look, over the last however many years it's been, 5-7 years, that's definitely driven me to get to where we are now.
That's what they say: surround yourself by the people you want to be. So
yeah, exactly. And I suppose it was actually even a fluke how we even got into it, because at the time I was getting initially mentored, and then we became friends, me and a guy called Paul Lanfair from Leeds. A really nice guy. And he said to me, I said to him, Paul, I'm really looking for something to take us to the next level. Like, I feel like we're stagnating a bit. We're doing 8 deals, but we need something else. But we don't need property training. We need business training.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, have you thought about this property entrepreneur thing? And I said, oh, yeah, that sounds interesting. Like, when do we need to apply? And he goes, oh, deadline is this Friday. It was Tuesday, Mark, right? Deadline was a Friday. Yeah. We're like, bloody hell, right, okay, fine. Literally, really quickly put together application, and we were good at writing applications, and did the interview process and all that stuff, because it's not easy to get in. And we were so excited when we got a call saying that we'd actually got a place. We were like, oh my God. And it was, super expensive as well for us at that time, having only sold 8 deals. Yeah. And then, to answer your question about where we come to, like, over the years, we've basically just followed the blueprint, implemented layer by layer. And I think I told you this a little bit earlier, is that previously what I thought was, oh, we'll be on it for a year. I know it's really expensive, but don't worry, we'll be on it for a year, and then we'll just use all the information for the next 5 years and do it. But that's just not how it works. The first thing is, like, in that first year, you're not even taking it all in. There's just so much information.
I think it depends what stage of the journey you're on.
Yeah.
You listen to different things, and you're ready to kind of implement different things. That's one of the things I get asked all the time, is why have I stayed on so long? And it is, I think it's for me, it's kind of half of business, half is kind of like the personal.
Totally.
Yeah. Obviously the relationship we have, the trips and things like that. But I think each year you're at a different phase. And I think the growth that you have. So do you want to just say as to where you're at now, the business?
Yeah. So I said to you, we started off doing basically 4 deals a year, right? Not even a month, 4 deals a year. And we were selling for about £2,997. And that was basically all the income.
Bargain, just under 3,000.
Yeah, 3 grand. Yeah, we were trying to undercut everyone else.
Yeah.
So 3 grand times 4 deals, 12 grand. And obviously that doesn't really pay for anything, let alone kind of like expenses, marketing expenses, insurance costs, all that kind of stuff. So by the time we're done with it, we probably made a loss. If not, if we don't count our time, we still made a bloody loss. And here we are now. We just opened up our. So we have a Leeds office. We just opened up our Sheffield office as well. So Leeds this year will do 60 properties. Sheffield will do 30. So we'll do about 75 to 100 properties this year. And we're selling them all for somewhere in the region of between 10 and 11,000 pounds a piece. And then on top of that, we also get referral fees, project management fees, which total in about £1,500 per property as well on top of that. So it's a nice little business. On top of that, we also, at the time when we started, it was, me and my business partner, and actually our partners as well, our wives, doing all the work, and very stressful. We didn't know what we were doing. And now it's kind of like there's a team in place that are doing a lot of the kind of heavy lifting. And it means that I get to choose what I do. So in fact, 2 years ago, I actually hired a salesperson and said, I want to get completely away from this. And then I realized I'd lost touch with the clients. And I really like being with the clients. I like to know, who we're taking on board and that. So in the end, actually, I moved the salesperson on and I started doing the sales myself, because I realized at the beginning, we used to have, 3-4 conversations that lasted an hour and a half each to try and convince someone to buy. And at the end of it, they probably wouldn't buy, but 4 people in that first year did buy. And now it's we just get everyone onto a webinar once a quarter. There's probably about 120, 150 people on the webinar. And off the back of that, like, we know we're going to make the sales. So we've got a waiting list that's full. Usually it had, in the past, it was full, over a year in advance. But then I felt a little bit trapped in that situation, because I was like, oh my God, like I can't go, if I wanted to, I think I can't go traveling for 3 months, because, there's a whole, all these clients that are waiting to find all these properties and stuff. So what we did was we cut that down. So we're now just full 6 months at a time. And every quarter we fill up the next quarter of property. So I think from a sales perspective, we don't really have much of an issue. From a team perspective, we're whizzing along. We're obviously expanding from Leeds into Sheffield. We're selling these properties at quite a good price point. And so there's an element of, there's quite an element of margin in there. And so it's a lucrative business. It's a lifestyle business. It's something that I really enjoy doing. Really enjoying it.
You've got a team. Is it about seven people now in your team?
I think there's probably about 9 or 10 actually at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I think actually, so I think there's 10, and I think we're going to hire 2 more in the next 2 months or so. But I'm very mindful to stay under 12, because going back to our board, we've been told that 12 is the magic number. After that, you need kind of multiple layers of management, whereas under 12, we're okay. So yeah, probably in that kind of 10 to 12 region is where we'll settle.
So as far as these deals, so you've got clients that are paying kind of like, 10K. What is like an average deal, so that people can kind of like understand if there's buying property?
Well, I think, great question, Mark. So this was the other difficulty. Back when we started selling these 4 deals, we were selling 4 deals and they were like 25%, 30% return deals. And what we realized, which took us a long time to realize, is that the reason why we were only able to find 4 deals is because we were pitching them too high, 25, 30%. So 2 things happened there. 1, it's really hard to find the deals.
Yeah.
But 2, for normal people, 25, 30% is ridiculous. So they sit there and go, no, that's obviously not possible, so I don't even want to hear about it. Or they say, well, if it is 25 to 30%, they must be like ridiculously high risk, and therefore I don't want it. And what we do now is we say, yes, you pay 10 grand, but ultimately you're buying a house that's maybe between 130 and 160,000 pounds, and you'll get rent of somewhere in the region of between 650 and 850. So they're just in most of the areas that we look at, they're just standard properties. Then there's nothing like amazing.
Are they like 2-3 bed terraced houses?
Yeah, 2-3 bedroom terraced and semi-detached houses, and they are the ones that everyone else is buying. So it's not like we go in trying to get them like 50% below market value or anything like that. It's just, they'll be on the market for 135, but we'll buy them for, well, the market's been a bit crazy recently. So even right now, we've been buying them for 135, 140 even sometimes. Yeah. So it's not like we're trying to get them well below market value. What we're offering ultimately is the end-to-end service. So here's our target client. Then this will probably help to help your listeners understand who we're targeting. Our target client is someone that's basically where I would have been if I hadn't got into property. I'm based in London. I'm making quite a lot of money, but I work really hard. I've got a family to look after. I've got parents to look after. I've got, all the bills, because I don't have a PA. I've got all the bills and stuff that I need to look after. So actually, once I take all that into account, I've got no time to invest my money. I'm earning the money, and so there's lots of money in the bank, but I've got no time to invest it. And so what I'm looking for as an investor, or as a professional, I should say, is someone that I can trust to go and invest my money. And so what we aim to be, more than anything else, is we aim to be the trusted partner. And so if they trust us and we trust them back, obviously, that means that if we say jump, they'll say how high. If we say buy this property, they'll say, okay, where do I sign? Like, we're looking for that trust. They're looking for that trust from us, and we're looking for that trust from them to say, do they trust us when we put a deal in front of them? And then they're looking to us to say, are these people acting with integrity, with being transparent about everything, being professional? And so that's what we're looking for. And what we realize is those people are willing to pay a premium for that trust. So they don't really care about the people. Yes, they can go and find other sources that are doing this for £3,000 or 2,997, like when we first started, but they'd rather deal with us because we're trusted. Their friends may have been with us, their family members may have done deals with us, they may have a connection with me or with any of my team, and so there's already some level of trust there.
Good.
Yeah.
So as far as that, we were saying you've built the team. So that's allowed you now to kind of free up your time to be able to work on the business, on the things that you enjoy, managing the team. But you've also then started to work with a JV partner to build up a portfolio yourself. So can you tell us about that?
Definitely. Like, one of the things that we've been being told on the board for probably the last at least 3 or 4 years, Mark. But again, like you said, you're just not in the right stage or the right phase to be able to take advantage of it, is you've got to be taking money off the table. And I didn't really understand what that meant until probably about 2-3 years ago. And what that really means is you're making all this money in your business, fine. But if you're just reinvesting it in the business, if something goes wrong and the business, COVID comes along and no one wants to buy properties anymore or something like that, then your whole business could go bust and you've got nothing to show for it. And what we were told on the board is that actually, if you keep every year just slicing a bit off and take it off the table and slicing that bit off and reinvesting it somewhere else, then at least at the end of 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it's been, if something goes wrong with the business and the business goes flat on its place and it's not worth anything, you've still been able to build a portfolio or invest the money that you've taken aside every single year. And so what I started doing, well, obviously you can only start doing this once you get into kind of a profitable position, which, for us took years to get there because we had to learn. But say over the last 2 years or so, we started slicing that profit away and then putting that somewhere. But although we were slicing that profit away, we didn't really know what to do with it. We didn't have the time to go and do anything with it. What we did instead, at the time, we had a client that was buying properties through us. And he bought quite a few properties, about 20 or 30 properties. Wow. And then and that was in Leeds. And then we were opening up Sheffield. And I said to him, hey, do you want to buy some properties in Sheffield? And he said, yeah, of course I want to buy some properties in Sheffield. Like, I trust you guys. I've bought lots from you, so I want to buy some more. And I said to him, how about we do this though, right? Because I can charge you this fee for every single property, or we can do kind of a JV partnership. And I said, you still make the same return. So it's not like you're halving the return. You still make the same return, but ultimately I'm now bought in, and you know that I've got to find you good properties because I'm now a 50% shareholder. Good properties that rent well, and I'll also manage those properties for you. So you'll have effectively no hassle, and you can do the whole thing. And to be honest with you, jumped at it. It was like, yes, absolutely, that's fantastic. And we went on to buy a number of properties. So over the period that we've been working together, we bought about 20 odd properties. And we over there, we do, because we need to find properties that are returning more than the standard properties, because ultimately, if you think that our standard properties may return, say, 7 or 8% return, if he can get 7-8% return by sourcing through us, if he then JVs, that then halves to say 3 or 4%. So it's like, I'm not looking for 3 or 4%. I still want 7-8%. So that means that we've got to find properties that are going to give 15-16% return, so that even when it halves, we're still looking at 7-8%, which is he's still making. So on that basis, we obviously do then the buy, refurbish, refinance model. Buy those houses. We've been buying them in Sheffield recently. 2 3-bedroom houses, buying them for about 90,000, doing about 20-30,000 pound worth of works to them, and then refinancing them for quite a lot more. In fact, the most recent one we did, we expected refinance for 135, and I think I mentioned to you, Mark, the other day, we got it refinanced for 160, which is absolutely insane. And obviously that releases a lot more money. So it releases the money for us to go and reinvest that money. So that's how I've been working with this JV partner. And obviously the money that I've said that we've been putting aside, I've then been investing that into other assets. So into the stock market, because I want to be diversified. I don't want to have all my eggs in one basket. So taking the money that we're making as profit from the company, investing that into the stock market, and taking the money that we're making from, taking the JV partnership and investing that into more property deals.
So I think that is a great strategy for people either already in property that are looking to build maybe like another portfolio or diversify, or even just to start off. A lot of people think is like, you know, how can I raise the funds? I mean, to buy like 20 buy-to-lets, which is like the same as like 10 buy-to-lets in your own name if you're on a 50-50. What tips would you have for somebody to find that kind of partner, JV partner?
I think it's the same tips as so I do some mentoring, Mark, for people that are looking to grow a sourcing business like I have, and it will be the same tips for them as it will be for people that are looking to find the money ultimately. And those tips are, contrary to what everyone believes, don't go to property networking events to find your partners. Because if you go to property networking events, first of all, those people already want to be property investors. That's why they're sitting in the room. And because they want to be property investors, first of all, you know, they may have been to a Simon Zutshi course or something like that. They might want, you know, an infinite return on their money because they've been sold the dream. And so for you to try and like lower their expectations, it's going to take a number of years, it's a lot of work. What we do instead is, as I said to you earlier, our clients are people that are already making money, but they don't have the time. So what we're doing is we're solving a problem for them. We're going to them and saying, hey, you haven't got the time, but we do this for a living. How about you invest your money? So the answer to how you find a JV partner is, and I think the other important thing to say is, you're not looking for 20 JV partners. You're looking for 1 or maybe 2 JV partners. And what that means is, if you want to buy 20 properties, you need to find not 20 people that have 20 grand. You need to find one person that has, you know, 300, 400, 500 grand. And how do you find those people? It's like, well, where do these people hang out? Now, there'll be people in your location already, but obviously I'm originally from London. So I go to London, I find these people in London, and it's through basically your network. So friends of friends, or friends of family, or acquaintances of people that you've met. It's all the people that are already know, like, and trust you through some means. So the way I always describe it is, I have me over here, I have the target person over here, and there's a connector in the middle. There's someone that I know. So that person that I know knows, likes, and trusts me. And so when there's someone else, a third party that they know that wants to invest, they're going to recommend me because this person knows, likes, and trusts me. So that means that they've already come via a recommendation, which means that they already half know, like, and trust me. So it's not like, imagine, Mark, they could either come to me or they could come to you, but they know me through somebody, and they don't know you from anyone. Obviously, they're going to come to me because they know me through somebody. So I think it's finding people that are within your network, know, like, and trust is going to be a lot easier for you there. And then also hanging out with people that are not property investors. So hanging out with either business people, well, professionals or business people. Business people works really well as well. So if you think about, imagine that you're selling windows, for example. You've got a business that sells double glazing or double glazed windows, and you're making, you know, it's been running for 20 years, 30 years, whatever, you're making good money, but you spend all your time building the business. You spend all your time dealing with windows and sorting out the challenges that come with that, and sorting out the challenges that come with having a team and all that kind of stuff. So you're making this money, it's sitting in the bank, and obviously it's being eroded because of inflation. And what if you could go to that person and say, hey, I know you've got this challenge. What's your challenge? Your challenge is your money's being eroded because of inflation. You need to put it somewhere else, but you don't have the time to put it somewhere else. Could I help you with that challenge? And maybe you can go in there, and this is certainly where that I would start if I was starting out, is go in there and say, hey, I can do this, and I'm not going to charge you a fee on the first one, because this is a long-term relationship for me. If this works out, I know you want me to do more of these. So I'm going to do this for you and charge you, half a fee or no fee. We go and do the first one together. It works out really well for them. The second one, we say, hey, instead of me just buying these properties for you, maybe we could JV on these properties. And we JV on these properties, or I charge you a fee, one or the other. So we JV on the properties. And so, and remember, these people are people that have money sitting in the bank. They're making zero on it at the moment. So even if you make them 5%, it's still better than making zero.
Yeah.
So it's not hard to find the deals. And I think the point is, like, how do you find a business that works and is not hard to make it work? That's where you're really going to make money, because that's where you can serve the most number of people. That's where you can find the most number of clients, the most number of deals, and you can match those things together. So I think the answer is, it's the same answer as I give to people that I mentor from a sourcing perspective. It's don't find property people, find business people or professionals, and then you want to be looking at finding people that are already in your network through a connect, through another point.
Yeah. Okay. And I think, like, when you're doing a JV, everything's negotiable. So obviously, Dan talks about how he structures his JV partnership for doing developments. So just like headline figures, is it 50-50 on everything that you do, just so that people have like an idea?
Blueprint. Yeah, sure. So it's 50-50 on everything that we do. The only difference is because he's putting in all the funds, all the funds that he puts in sit on the balance sheet. So anything that I put in, so if I put in funds or effort or time or my team do anything, I charge that to the company, and that gets paid to me as an expense. So I get that today. I don't have to wait. Whereas his money, which he's investing, sits on the balance sheet, and as and when we go through refinances, some of that gets repaid, and then whatever's left over just sits on the balance sheet for us to pay off at some point in the future. So it is effectively 50-50, except for the fact that his money sits on the balance sheet and my time, effort, involvement gets paid today.
So you charge a fee for that then, do you?
Yeah, so I don't charge a fee for what I do. But if I have, for example, I have a bookkeeper and she does some work for me, and if she's doing some work for this company, then she's going to charge to the company. Likewise, I have a project manager. So if there's any, the JV partner gets the benefit of our lifestyle property people overheads. So we have a property progressor, we have a delivery manager, we have a deal negotiator, all those kind of things. They're already overheads. I've already paid them. I don't need to charge him for them. But where they are contractors, so we have a project manager that's a contractor, we have a bookkeeper that's a contractor, we have a contract property manager, someone that looks after all of the properties, the management of the properties. All those people charge an hourly rate, and so they just charge the company the hourly rate, and then that goes through. But otherwise 50-50 on any of the growth and 50-50 on the cash flow, obviously.
So headline figures then, you've done about 20 of these buy-to-lets. So is that about 2 million or possibly more now with the market as far as value?
Yeah, absolutely. So 20 buy-to-lets, each of them on average would say, when we bought them must have been about 100 grand, but they're now probably about 130, 140. So yeah, a little bit more than that probably at the moment. And
cash
each
flow.
of them, cash flowing probably about 300 and say 400 pounds each. And then if you do divide by 2, so my share of that would be 200 pounds. And then times by 20, there's your numbers for cash flow. Per month, obviously, and then multiply by 12 for annual numbers. And remember that in all of this, because I'm not putting any money in, the ROI for me is infinite. The ROI for the JV investor, his ROI would be somewhere in the region of 10% or something like that. But my ROI would be infinite because I've not put any money into the deals.
So what a fantastic way to build a portfolio. Congratulations.
And I think I mentioned there briefly, but actually the real win here, as well as the fact we've got a JV partner, he's putting in all the money and we're buying his portfolio. The real win here is I'm not actually buying the portfolio. I've got a team that are already in place buying my client's portfolio. they're the ones that are buying me. So like I said, we've got a deal negotiator that goes out and finds the properties. She puts them to me, I sign them off, we say fantastic, we offer on the properties. We then have, so we have obviously a viewer that goes out to view the properties as well. We then have pass it over to the purchase progression team, and their job is basically to purchase the property and to update the client, me and my JV partner, once a week. And at the end of that, we then have, hand it over to the project manager. They go and refurbish it, and they still get the updates once a week to the client, which is me and a JV partner. And then it gets put into the rentals. And obviously, we leverage our rentals. So what that means is, we've got, I don't know, must be about 250 properties that are being rented at the moment. So what we do is we go to one letting agency and say, hey, we've got 250 properties. How much are you going to rent ours? How much are you get, what fee are you going to charge us on the basis we've got 250 of them? So it's now no longer charging, 13, 14% or whatever. It's now like, oh, it's 10% including that, but then there's no other fees and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of advantages that the JV partner gets because of the fact that he's tagging along with the sourcing business on the back of it.
Fantastic. So just to end off then, as far as people being able to contact you, so what's the best way for that, and the type of people that might be interested in that, you think? Yeah,
sure. So I think the people that be interested in is so people that are obviously looking to build JV partnerships and stuff like that. I'm more than happy to give guidance on how I went about doing that. This podcast may have already happened. And then people that are looking to build sourcing businesses as well. So it's taken us the best part of 6-7 years to get to the point where we are now, where we can, the business and run itself can make a decent amount of profit, and we're not really too worried about any of the big challenges, because we're kind of looking at them and looking forward all the time for those challenges and solving them as they come. I'm mentoring a couple of people at the moment. I've been doing this for about 6 months so far, and they've got sourcing businesses, and they're trying to get them to the place where my business is. Mm-hmm. And I can see the acceleration in their growth already. So within just maybe 6 months or so, they've probably covered like the best part of 4 years worth of ground in terms of how to operate the business. And a lot of the time they just ask me the questions like, what's the best way of doing this? And I say, oh, well, we tried all the other ways. This is the best way. This is what you should use. What's the best system? Well, this is the system you should use, because this is the, I've tried all the other systems. So it's taking away all of the how should we do stuff, all the trial and error. It's almost like a franchise, Mark, right? When you buy a franchise, they say, do this, use this system, this is how you do it, this is how much profit to make, this is how much you're going to charge. Everything's there, the blueprint, let's say, and that's kind of what we have already built. And what I had basically about 7 months ago was, so there's a couple of people that probably off one of these podcasts that I did actually. So people contacted me and said, oh, can you help me build a sourcing business like yours? And I said, oh, yeah, no issues with helping people get to where we are. I've got a lot of knowledge that we've gained over the last 7 years. I can help people with that. And so they joined. We built kind of like a mentoring structure around it, and now we go through it on a monthly basis. So if people are looking for that, then I'm more than happy to help them with that, to help them grow their business. And ultimately what it will do is it will fast track the results. So it took us probably about 4 or 5 years to get to the point where we're making, 100 grand or whatever. We could easily do that within the space of 2 years. Why? Because we know the system. We know what the numbers are. We know what we need to charge, where we need to go to find the people, what we need to do from a marketing perspective, what we need to do from a team perspective, which people are the most important people to get in, how we're going to go about recruiting them. That whole piece is already in place. Okay. But yeah, fantastic. And outside of that as well, obviously you can just visit me on social media. So I think it's Shiv_Haria on Instagram, and Shiv.Haria1 on Facebook. Okay, very good. Thank you for your time, Shiv. Perfect. Lovely speaking to you. Thanks, Mark. Really appreciate it. All right. Enjoy your day. See ya. Okay.